10 years?
However long she's been recording. That's when I met her.
Well, don't you remember how long it was?
Yeah, when I met her. I mean,
Was it 5 years ago? Was it?
I met her 10 years ago.
How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him?
Jay-Z denies allegations he sexually assaulted a 13-year-old, I was about to say boy, but it's not a boy, it's a 13-year-old in 2000.
Well, yeah, I started, even in my beginning, you know, I just lived such a rich life, you know, a full life.
The entertainment world is grappling with a storm of allegations that have already implicated Diddy and Jay-Z in a shocking lawsuit. The victim, who recently named Jay-Z as an alleged perpetrator, has sent shockwaves through the industry. Legal analysts and the public are now speculating about the possibility of a third celebrity being named, a figure who may have remained shielded by Hollywood's walls of power. As the victim breaks her silence and legal battles intensify, the courage to seek justice appears to be growing. Inspired by Diddy's recent legal troubles, the victim seems emboldened to expose more names, creating ripples across the entertainment world. Could this be the start of a seismic shift in accountability for the rich and powerful?
It's very subtle, Vinny, but you can detect Jay-Z indicating, again, you really got to read between the lines, that he's not going to negotiate, right? It's hard to see,
Yeah.
but it looks like he's not going to negotiate. But there's a line in here. I love to dissect these things. And first of all, I think this was written by a spokesperson, taking nothing against Jay-Z and his capabilities. But this really appears to be written by a legal publicist. This is the way they write. This is their style. So one of the things he says is, I implore you to file criminal, not civil. And when I saw that this morning, I didn't have time before the show, but I wanted to look up the statute of limitations, Pat, and to see whether this is chargeable. I don't know. I actually do not know at this hour. But when I see something like that, I go, oh.
The lawsuit accusing Jay-Z of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old has thrown his carefully maintained image into turmoil. The victim's decision to include Jay-Z alongside Diddy has sparked intense scrutiny and speculation about why these revelations are surfacing now. Legal analysts suggest that the inclusion of Jay-Z could signal a broader pattern of abuse and cover-ups within the entertainment elite. The victim's courage in naming such influential figures underscores the seriousness of the allegations.
And we end in the world of hip-hop as rapper Jay-Z is embroiled in a legal storm. A woman who has already accused music mogul Sean Diddy Combs of raping her has now named Jay-Z in the same lawsuit. The woman claims that both Sean Combs and Jay-Z sexually assaulted her at an after-party following the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards when she was just 13 years old. The lawsuit filed in New York claims Jay-Z allegedly held the victim down and assaulted her while Sean Combs watched the heinous act unfold. Though Jay-Z has dismissed all allegations, calling them targeted blackmailing, the story is far from over. Here's our final report with more.
For the first time, the accuser has spoken out publicly, sharing the immense emotional weight she has carried for years. Her words describe the feelings of powerlessness and isolation she endured, offering a glimpse into the toll these alleged acts have taken. This raw and emotional testimony has galvanized supporters and brought more attention to her claims. It also raises the stakes for other victims who might still be deciding whether to come forward.
The first drink started to have some effect on me, and I just thought, wow, these are really strong drinks. It wasn't until the second drink, and it was already too late, that I realized that there was something wrong with the drinks. Sean Combs was waiting in the wings. He was watching from some sort of vantage point, and once I was in a helpless position and he was sure that he was in a position of power, then he took advantage of the situation.
The definition of if you want to make something happen, you got to put in that work and make it happen. So I come to you with love and in love.
Jay-Z's response to these allegations has been met with mixed reactions. While he claims that he is being blackmailed, many are questioning whether his statements truly address the severity of the accusations. This denial has done little to quell public outrage, as critics argue that claiming blackmail only deflects from the issue at hand. Others see this as a sign of desperation, suggesting that Jay-Z might feel the pressure of the legal and public scrutiny closing in.
Because Beyonce has a deal there, and I know her. So, but
How long have you known her?
Wow, a long time.
How long? 10 years?
However long she's been recording. That's when I met her.
Well, don't you remember how long it was?
Yeah, when I met her. I mean,
Was it 5 years ago? Was it?
I met her 10 years ago. But
Did you say to yourself at that time, wow?
I said, yeah, that's a fantastic talent.
Was that what you said?
Yeah.
With two high-profile names already implicated, speculation is rampant about the potential involvement of a third celebrity. Some analysts believe that the victim's decision to name Jay-Z now, years after the alleged incident, is a calculated move inspired by Diddy's legal reckoning. This newfound hope for justice might also be motivating her to expose additional perpetrators. This development is not just about individual accountability, it's about dismantling a culture of impunity that has long shielded the powerful.
It have been shocking to you that somebody comes on a show and then kind of levels these vague-ish allegations? Were you kind of ready for something like this to eventually happen?
Listen, there's rumors and then there's nonsense, and this is one step further, right? This is a pointed and formal accusation of something, I felt it needed to be responded to. So I think somebody reported it was a cease and desist. It wasn't that, it was quite bluntly an ultimatum, which is remove that false accusation that's demonstrably false, or a court's going to order you to. And so I think he made the wise choice and acted accordingly.
He meaning Piers Morgan.
Removing it and apologizing for it, yes. What changed here in my mind is that somebody on a so-called journalistic platform exploited, they not only caused harm here, but they are also droning out the voices of real victims. And by doing that to get clicks, it didn't just harm the Carters. What he did effectively was to drone out the voices of actual victims in an ongoing case, in an ongoing investigation. And that was too much for me.
Are you in the process of making sure that it is taken down everywhere?
What I am here to say is that in a situation as serious as this, somebody who puts themselves out as a journalist should not effectively take advantage of the situation and exploit somebody in this way. And so that's the real reason for action.
Does it strike you a little bit that there's been a lot of silence in Hollywood in the wake of all of this?
Well, as to the Carters, I can tell you that when they put their foot down on something as they did here, they are sending a message. And if they can't stand up and make sure right from wrong, then who can? I've always believed that the truth will come out in courtrooms, and I'm sure the truth will come out here.
Speculation about the sheer number of victims potentially involved in these scandals has reached alarming levels. Some experts have suggested that the number could be in the thousands, pointing to a systemic problem in the entertainment industry. These claims, while shocking, align with the growing chorus of voices calling for transparency and justice in Hollywood.
How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing to see what's right there. If the Me Too movement were real, why aren't they speaking now? They've also been very quiet in this time of the diddler's downfall.
Jaguar,
Guess they're on vacation.
If this goes to court, Jaguar, do you think the world is going to be shocked by what comes out?
Oh, absolutely. I just don't know why they are. It's been happening in front of everyone's faces for decades. For decades.
How many victims?
What's the difference between me and Judy Garland? Social media.
How many victims?
There was none for her. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about, Pierce.
Listen, like I said, Jay-Z and Beyonce are not here, unfortunately, to respond to that.
I know. I'm just being honest with you.
No, you're perfectly entitled to your views, obviously. Kim Porter,
Yes.
a new book claims that Diddy may have been involved in her early death. What do you think of that?
I think people should really look into that more. I am friends with Albie Shore. I love him. I love his children. I knew Kim. We used to all hang out together at the Kit Kat Club back in the mid-90s when Diddy was first starting his reign.
Over the years, Jay-Z has cultivated a public persona of success and respectability, but recent revelations suggest there may be a darker side to his story. Some accounts detail troubling interactions, raising questions about whether his behavior has been enabled or ignored by those around him.
NBC News was the first to report that Jay-Z is being accused of raping a 13-year-old girl at a party back in 2000.
Tonight, NBC4's Camilla Rambaldi is in our newsroom with more on the new lawsuit. Camilla.
These allegations highlight the immense challenges victims face when going up against some of the most powerful figures in the world. Diddy's recent legal troubles have set a precedent that may be encouraging the victim to name additional names. Watching one of the entertainment industry's untouchables face consequences could give her the courage to expose others who allegedly wronged her. This marks a turning point in the fight for justice, as more victims find their voices and take on the powerful.
Jay-Z denies allegations he sexually assaulted a 13-year-old I was about to say boy, but it's not a boy. It's a 13-year-old in 2000 with Sean Diddy Combs. So the story says that. Rob, if you can pull up the story with this. Okay. So a lawsuit filed against Sean Diddy Combs now alleges if he can find their response, because Jay-Z actually responded. There's actually a response, and I want to read that.
It was
for
Rock
the
Nation,
audience.
right, Pat? And I think they might have taken it down after. Just give.
I have it. I have it anyway.
No, yeah,
so
okay.
if you don't have
Okay.
it, I have it.
Okay.
But it should be someone for him to respond. So, okay, Sean Diddy Combs now includes allegations that Jay-Z, Sean Carter sexually assaulted Jane Doe, who was 13 at the time, at an after-party 2000 Video Music Awards. Doe alleges she felt woozy after consuming a drink, then wandered into a bedroom where Carter raped her first, followed by Combs. Carter called the allegations so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one, and said whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Frivolous lawsuit and accusations of harassment against Doe's legal team. It states Jay-Z responded to said letter by orchestrating a conspiracy of harassment, bullying, and intimidation against plaintiffs' lawyers, their families, employees, and former associates in an attempt to silence plaintiff. In his statement to CNN, Carter labeled the mediation effort a blackmail effort and remarked that those lawyers seem to have a pattern of these types of theatrics. Is this their response, Rob?
Yes.
And is this from him? Because he actually responded.
I think that because it says my lawyer received a blackmail attempt.
Yeah,
So
this is what it's saying. The internet is saying that this is Jay-Z's response.
Can you zoom in a little bit, Rob?
Sure.
My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had been calculated as the nature of these allegations and public scrutiny would make.
Jay-Z's response to the accusations includes claims that he is being blackmailed, a narrative that has added yet another layer of complexity to the story. The idea that someone might exploit his alleged crimes for financial gain has divided public opinion. This twist in the case has led to heated debates about what constitutes justice and whether public figures can truly evade accountability.
And 2 exclamation marks. Jay-Z is heated! He continues. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. 2 exclamation marks. Ooh, good point. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? Ooh, that's also a really good point. Although, isn't there such a thing as statute of limitations? The alleged incident between Diddy, Jay-Z, the unknown female celebrity, and the 13-year-old minor happened in 2000. That's 24 years ago.
Legal analysts have pointed out that the victim's timing in naming Jay-Z is strategic, aiming to build momentum as more people demand answers. The possibility of naming a third celebrity could represent the culmination of years of trauma and silence being transformed into empowerment. For the victim, this journey is about more than personal justice. It's about shining a light on the broader culture of abuse and complicity in the entertainment industry.
Well, yeah. I started, even in my beginning, you know, I just lived such a rich life, you know, a full life. You know, that, you know, my first album came out, I was 26, and I had seen so many things in the street. So my attitude was like, man, I've seen so much, and, you know, I don't have anything to prove. I know who I am. I'm a very self-aware person. You know, so when you're self-aware, even when you're dealing with someone's ego, you know when to allow it to, you allow their ego to live in its own space. You know, it's the problem is if when you engage that energy, that's when there's a problem. If you engage the ego with your ego, then it's like, okay, now something has to happen. It could keep escalating to a level that can be irreversible. You know, but if you don't engage the ego, if you know how to manipulate or play around with the ego,
but that's weird in itself to people,
and you give light back to darkness,
right?
Know.
And people are bringing all of that wild energy into a room, and you just take a step back into the shadow a little bit and just let them do that. They would almost take offense to that. Why are you playing along? Why aren't you getting involved in this? Did you have experiences like that where people thought, I don't know how to take Jay, I don't know how to deal with Jay, he doesn't engage with us on that level?
Yeah, I'm sure. You know, and a lot of times what that also can be. You can misinterpret that as you know, arrogance. You know,
in its own way.
Yeah. If someone doesn't engage you in the way that you believe they should, then people's like, he's arrogant. He's act like he's above everybody. Like, no, I just don't want to argue with you about stupid shit. Just really don't have time to argue. You know what I'm saying?
The possibility of a third celebrity being named in the lawsuit against Diddy and Jay-Z represents a pivotal moment in the ongoing fight for accountability in Hollywood. With the victim gaining courage from Diddy's legal troubles and public support growing, the potential for more revelations feels inevitable. As the world watches this story unfold, one thing is clear. The walls of protection that once shielded the powerful are beginning to crumble. The fight for justice is far from over, and the impact of these allegations could reshape the entertainment industry forever.